Time now for the Staci and Hutch Say Too Much podcast.
Hide the children.
Where, you guessed it, the dynamic afternoon duo say way too much.
I won't shave armpits. Does it hurt when it grows back?
If there's any ingrown situations, that can be very painful.
No, seriously, that was way too much.
Pit stains. I think they're sexy in certain situations.
So if you're still listening, here they are to start the pod.
Why? I never.
Staci and Hutch.
Let me turn the mics on.
There we go.
It's the podcast. Hey, Alex.
Hi, Hutch.
You've been on the podcast before, haven't you?
I've been on a couple of times.
Well, we're live right now on Instagram and Facebook doing our podcast live, which records now, but is airing on Monday for everyone else. So everyone that's watching right now
gets a sneak peek of
yeah,
this
you're
gold?
watching this. You're watching. We can say bad words.
Can we? Can I test it?
Well, it's what word?
I'm thinking of slurs.
Yeah, nope. Let's not do that. How are you, man?
Good.
You doing well?
Yeah, we're at the end of the week. I was expecting to have snow down at this point.
Yeah, no snow at all. Like none.
Slightly disappointed, but
don't worry, it'll come at some point. But we got the most of the cold out of the way. By the way, you guys can comment. If you're watching live, you can comment on all of our stuff. I can see who's watching. Pat, who set this all up for me, is watching.
Oh, that's good.
Kira's watching. Andrew is watching. So thank you for watching. But you guys can comment too. But yeah, it's been a week of just dudes on a show, and you really need. I realized this whole week. I've realized before, but there's got to be that female. Just. I need some sort of. I mean, when we bro it out, it's bro. It's bro.
We both go through when we've done the week before. It starts to pick up momentum through the middle of the week, and then once we hit Wednesday, we're like, so when's Staci coming back? Because even we look at each other like, yeah, we're missing a part here.
There's something missing.
It's Staci. We're
Is
missing
it, though?
Staci.
She messaged me. She's gonna go live, I think, in a little bit too. But yeah, I don't know. Like, she's in Costa Rica. She's having fun. She's doing it. Hey, but you know what? With bros hanging out, and doing our thing. Let me ask you something. Do you find it hard to show manly emotions? How were you raised? Let's learn more about Alex. Were your parents into emotional talk?
I was wondering where that was going to go.
Were your
manly
parents
emotion.
into?
First, I'm curious what manly
Because
emotion
I've
is.
known you for how many months now?
I don't know. Let's call it 3.5.
And people are like, we want to know more about Alex. We want to know 20 questions with Alex. We want to do this with Alex. We want to, blah, 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 blah with Alex. I'm like, he's mine. Don't touch him.
Oh, I like that.
But, I've interacted with you and your girlfriend a couple of times. And you guys obviously love each other very much. But she seems to have more of an attitude.
Really?
Yeah. And you seem more of the emotional type, Alex. If you were to describe yourself, how would you do that? People want to know more.
Well, first, I'm going to say she doesn't really have attitude. She's got spunk.
No, she's got spunk.
She's got spunk.
She's got spunk. We hung out, a couple times?
Yeah.
Her and I. And man, so a lot of the times she won't let me pay for drinks.
Luckily, the nice thing is she's the performer out of the two of us.
She is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like if we go to, I don't know, group gathering, family stuff or whatever, I can kind of fade into the background and she can kind of take, she is a performer at heart. Big karaoke. But what was the original question?
The original question was you growing up. People want to know more about Alex. How
Okay.
did you grow up? Why did you go to Christian school where teachers could dance in between two students? And
Welcomed.
why are you here? Because someone said, by the way, hi, Alex, love you on the Staci Hutch show.
Oh, thanks.
Hi, Lori. Yeah, you guys can comment if you want. But so how'd you end up here? Give a little bit of backstory about you and what's going on with you and why you decided to choose working with Staci and I.
Well, the working with you and Staci just kind of materialized kind of around me, given things that were happening.
Yeah.
So that just kind of felt, because I was originally hired here to do a show on the weekend when I moved here, and I had been out of broadcasting for about a year, and coming here was honestly an opportunity. It's like, this is the first time I've ever moved anywhere without a job kind of set up in contract. So I was just kind of floating around here trying to figure out what I was going to do. And coming to KS95, I was like, oh, do a weekend show and see if I still even kind of like it. I'd never done music before. So it was just kind of to dip the toes back in and just kind of see if I still wanted to kind of be back in this business. But we moved here just kind of after being together for a handful of months. She got accepted to grad school, and she always wanted to come back to Minnesota. And like I said, I've been taking a break from broadcasting for that 1 year, and it just kind of things just kind of seemed to line up in a certain way that was like, well, you know what? I'd kind of be up for a weird move. We talk about like kind of knowing early on if this is something, a partner or something like that is something that you want to invest the time and effort into.
Did you know right away with her?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. So I already knew when she said, got accepted into grad school. I knew she wanted to go back to Minnesota. I kind of already knew right off the bat that wasn't going to happen for months, but I was like, I'm going to have to consider going to the Midwest.
What was it about Belle? Like it was the first date. I assume it's the first date, that you knew that she was someone you wanted to be with forever.
Yeah. We had a wild first meet, and it was kind of after that.
How did that go? What happened there?
At the time, so I had a day gig during the week that I quite enjoyed, but I also had this part-time gig that I did on the weekends at a brewery with great people, and I got free beer benefits. So I just kind of kept working there, and she happened to come in with a group of friends, and she came at the end of the night and said, "You want to go mini golfing?"
She asked you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Never have I ever had that experience. There's two people I know where the woman was hitting on the guy.
Yeah. It wasn't even so much hitting. We had one interaction before that, and there was just something where like,
and you said,
caught eyes, chemistry, and I was kind of interested in her, but I always had a rule of like I almost messed up because I wasn't going to give her my number just because I got a rule of if you're behind a bar, don't give your number out. I was always afraid of looking like a creep, but luckily she came up and asked, and I was like, mini golfing. It's like 10 o'clock at night. Where the hell are we going to do that?
Oh, she asked you on a date that night. And
she was like, my friends are going mini golfing. And I asked her, I was like, do your friends know about this?
Slow it down, Alex. You're moving fast.
Yeah. So I said yes. And then we went to this mini golf thing.
Wait, hold on. So you met, because you said first date, you met her? And as soon as you went mini golfing, you knew she was the one you wanted to be with forever?
Well, from like the conversation, I don't,
you're insane.
To a degree, I knew leaving that night that I was like, there's somebody special here.
Yeah.
And that came from, we ended up just so happened going into a gay club, not knowing it was a gay club, meeting one of her friends. And we were dancing, having a good time, and also having serious conversations. Like it was a very bizarre kind of atmosphere. I remember her telling me like, you should know if we were going to hang out again, like my goals in life, one day I want to be a mother. But I also want to focus on my career. And while she's telling me all this, you look over her shoulder and there's like a dude stripping with like a banana hammock on. People are putting dollar bills. So I'm looking at her. She's saying this like real life, opening her heart up stuff. Yeah. But I look over her and it's like, it's a fever dream behind her. But it was that kind of combination of, I like that kind of weirdness in my life, that honesty and all that stuff. So I was like, this is somebody who's probably going to, rock my head around a little bit. And we kept with it. And we were faced with a decision of...
How long were you guys together before you said, I'm going to move with her to Minnesota?
Like 7 months.
Wow.
Oh, no, we said even before that, because we met and things kind of moved pretty quickly. And then she got accepted in the grad school after a few months. And we both kind of knew that there was something here, but if something was going to split us apart, we talked like, what does long distance look like? Yeah. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Personally. What do our lives look like? Where are we going? And I was like, I'm literally in the spot right now where I was trying to figure out whether I wanted to stick with my career or whether I want to branch off and do something different. So I was like, if I'm going to get back to a career or do something different, I could probably do that in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of said, screw it. And
you ended up with Staci and I.
Ended up with Staci and you. All happenstance. It's weird how things have kind of formulated here being in Minnesota, but I'm thankful for it.
Well, I'll say, yeah, I mean, I'm thankful for it too. I think, I'm religious to an extent. I'm still trying to figure out what religion is to me. I think things happen for a reason. I think people are put in other people's lives for a reason. And with you coming into my life, the past 6 months or whatever, you and I have developed a bond. But, I think the whole situation of how you ended up here is super interesting. Because, and same with my life, like, if things didn't happen to me in Mankato the way that they did at my last radio job, who knows if I'd be sitting here or whatever. And it's super interesting to kind of think about things that have happened in the past and why you're put on certain paths and where you're at in life.
So what you're talking about right there, you mentioned partly like kind of religious. Like I always grew up. I think the worst thing that happened with my religious beliefs was going to Catholic school. It made me question a lot of things, and I didn't really get answers to it.
Yeah.
I always said I live with hope that there's something else. But Belle's far more religious than I am. She's always kind of said, I look at life. She looks at life in a way that, things are kind of all laid out there for you, whether you realize it or not.
Mhm.
Like your path is already there. You're kind of living through it. Do you kind of look back at some of that stuff that like, I didn't realize that was going to be my path
Well, I do it
at the time?
Yeah, yes. I do it in the moment too, though. Like there are times where like I'll go, why is this happening? I know whether it's career, financial, kids, relationships. I try to go in my life and I go, okay, this door's closing. And it's hard because I'm an overthinker. Like I'm if we were to talk about it, whether it's career or relationships, I'm anxious attachment.
Hmm.
All right. And Stacy's avoidant attachment. And so to get those kind of things to work, being anxious, I go, why is this not happening? I want this to happen. And I want it to happen. Like this job. I was just talking about it to someone today. It took me 4 months to get this job. 4 months. And this is a job I wanted,
Mhm.
and my anxious attachment was, why can't they just give it to me now? I know I'm the
4
good.
months is so long. I've never waited 4 months for a job. I've waited probably half of that.
Yeah.
And I could only imagine 4 months job you want. And you're just thinking through your mind the entire time of just like, what if I don't get it? And
Mhm.
you probably at times convince yourself, I don't have it. They would have told me by now. They
And
would
that's
have,
the problem with an overthinker,
Yeah.
is that you go to, you go to kind of the worst possible point in your head. Why am I not getting this job now? Do they not like me? Why are my kids saying they want to go back to their moms? Is it because they're bored, or is it because they don't love me? It's why is this person not moving at a quicker pace? Because I want this, and I know we'd be great for each other. It's an overthinking, and I've been in the situation long enough to know that I just got to stop, and I do have to breathe.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss. Also, I used to be an overthinker when I was younger. I don't think I'm very much anymore. I think I'm almost happily ignorant at not knowing what necessarily will come next week, a month from now, a year from now. It's literally the mentality of literally just taking a day by day type of thing.
Yeah,
And
which is hard for overthinkers.
it's literally the one thing that you can't do.
Right. And sometimes I wish I had the avoidant attachment, but then I see Stacy, who I know is avoidant. And I'm like, just address it. Let's just get it out there. Let's do this. Not that there's ever big fights between us, but I'm like, say how you feel. And if your boss can't handle that, or if maybe it's not the right job, if your friends can't handle, just say it, get it out there. It's such a huge, just kind of blah, off your shoulders. But
and I've also learned there's a beauty. We talk about this all the time with just decisions in life on a day to day, and kind of accepting that as long as you can put, like, mentality I always carried was, as long as you can put your pillow on your head at night and know that you made the decisions or said or behaved in a way that you're proud of, or in a way, like if you're talking about like going to a boss and talking about something, I don't think I'm ever going to be in a situation where I'm going to have to be yelled at about something, because I'll always be able to speak to decisions that I've made or the way that I've acted.
right.
And I think it's as long as you can, like I said, explain yourself, speak to what you're doing and how you're doing it, you always be fine. And then what do you have to worry about?
Yeah. And guys, always leave comments, by the way, if you're watching on Facebook or Instagram Live. You can leave comments. We can read them and talk about anything. It's hard because when you want something, and I'll take this job again, wanted this job so bad. I wanted this so bad, and I knew it'd be a great fit. There's never been a time in my life where I knew something was going to be a great fit and it didn't turn out. I don't know. It's not like I was in a situation where like, this is gonna be a great fit, and then it sucked. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I have a keen sense of what's gonna work and what's not. And this job, I'm like, I know I'm the guy. I know I'm the guy that can help take this to the next level and get more ratings and better ratings and still continue to do this. And I know myself, and I know my determination, and I know my loyalty. and faithfulness to the career that I love and I'm going to do. No one else saw it at that moment. People were still today. You know how many texts we get of people saying I suck or you know blah 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 blah.
But that's always been there in this business.
You do, but I think my point with this is that if you know that you've got something and you go for it, it's going to turn out okay. And that's what happened with you and Belle moving here. You became on such an amazing, future award-winning show.
And can I say something about I honestly I kind of believe that. And no, can I say?
I'm not
something,
sure what kind of razzie.
Can I say something about this show?
You can, but if it's a compliment, I won't be able to take it.
That's right. You can stay shut.
Okay, good.
Because I came from news. I pigeonholed myself in news for years and years and years. And actually, that was why I wanted to take a break from it and break out, because I was like, if I'm only going to get like news gigs, I don't want to do news. I want to have a goof around, you know, on a day-to-day and try and have some fun and try and put my creativity into a show. And it wasn't until I started working with you guys and you guys were like, try stuff. You know, if you have ideas, just plug them in there. We'll do there's a couple of things we've already done where you just said, yeah. And if it doesn't work, we'll make fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
If it does work, great. But keep trying stuff. That's the one thing that excited me. And then with working with you two, I watch you two interact. Staci goes with things. Staci is one of the, actually both of you are quietly a couple of the funniest people I've met instinctually. Staci has these quiet lines that are like sniper lines that if you aren't listening closely, you might miss them. And you instinctually, one of my favorite things to do on the show is just kind of when you guys toss out like what you had planned. And like when you two are just going based off instincts, I think the show is like one of the best out there. And one of the few shows on terrestrial radio that, also credit to the boss, that allows us to just kind of wing it and just try and let creative be creative and let your instincts take over and just try and go for the joke or go for the fun, go for the goofy bit, go for whatever in the moment. It's one of the few shows out there that you actually have that creative freedom. That's why I wanted to be a part of the show. So it didn't take that long to realize, like, I could think of a bit that has to do with toilet water and they won't even question it and they'll just see if it works. This is actually a building that will allow you to just come up with a weird idea and just see if it works on the air.
We've had some weird ideas.
Yeah.
I had some weird ideas.
That's when I kind of realized, I was like, oh, you know what? If I'm going to go and be a part of a show, it's probably going to be this one, or probably I don't think there's another one in the city. I've done my research. I don't think there's any other show in the city where I'm going to be able to go and slot in and try and be creative in the way that you guys allow somebody in that booth or for you two sitting here to be creative.
Yeah. It's and that's, you know, going back to the anxious mind or the anxious attachment style or whatever, like being creative, you're constantly thinking. You're constantly, like, when we have a caller, when we have, you know, first off, thank you for saying that. I was told I have to say thank you and take compliments. So thank you,
what you're
Alex.
working on this year.
I am working on this year. Working on it this year. But yeah, it's like, granted, I joke about, hey, you know, and you know how this business works, or the show works. I joke about, yeah, I go in at 2 and leave at 7. I get a 5-hour day, you know. But our show is Staci and I. The show and you it's our lives, is what I should say. There's a lot of things that I shouldn't talk about. There's things that maybe I should talk more about. But I'm constantly listening and I'm constantly trying to figure out where the funny is, where to end the break, where to do this, where to do that. And it does get stressful. The hardest part about this job is, I'll take a day this week, you know, it's when you have to come in and entertain for other people that are sad and make them happy. And you have to give everything you have when you don't feel happy yourself, is so draining. Or your dog dies. You're going through a divorce. You're going through a breakup. You don't know how your job is going. You don't know if people like you. The hardest part is to come in and put that face on and make other people happy. And so when it comes to that is the hardest part of the job for sure.
That's actually one of the instincts that because when I'd host shows and boss, if I came in a bad mood, I'd say it right off the bat. This show's a little bit different. I think there are times where I think if you're in a bad mood, you probably could come out and just say, listen, terrible mood. This show's going to be a different vibe today. It just is. But I understand that people don't listen to this show necessarily to hear about all your life gripes, because they do listen to the show because they want to have a laugh.
Right.
And that's actually something I got to adjust to as well, is because I'm used to, again, news. You could go in and just say, I'm having a piss day and I'm going to come in and listen, we're just going to rant on some stuff and you can get it out. This, if I came in and was like, guys, I'm having a bad day, I want to rant about a bunch of stuff, people would be listening and be like, I don't want to listen to this. I want to win some tickets. I want to have a laugh with you guys.
But that's why I think this job is so different too, because you have a bad day, or we can rip on our boss and he doesn't take offense to it, because we can say that guy shows no emotion or whatever, or man, our boss did this today, or he pissed us off because of this or whatever. People are relating to that because they're dealing with the same thing. We just can put it under the umbrella of, it was for the show, and if Matt ever comes at us, why'd you talk about? Oh, it was just for the show. He goes, oh, okay, no worries.
This show is, people, I had conversations with the first month I was here, is literally people tune into this show. It's not for the music. I'm sorry. The music's great. If you like the music, fantastic. But people tune into the show for you and Staci. Also, big bonus, they can win AJR tickets or whatever it might be. That's a huge bonus. But people would not tune in even to win tickets if it wasn't for you two. So literally the show is kind of about you guys in your lives and interacting with each other one-on-one.
Well, and that's why the criticism in the text, the ones we get every day, you see them, Hutch, you suck. Hutch, you're an a-hole. Hutch, you're stupid. Hutch, you're not a good father. You're not a good. The only ones that hurt me are the ones that talk about me as a dad,
Yeah, but that's.
But again, I want to say this is because people are still listening. When they say those things, they're still listening. And so that's why it doesn't affect me as much as it maybe would. If our show was number 3, 4, or 5, I'd probably also be affected by it.
But as well as I do, if you were on some rinky dink show, broadcasting out of the middle of a lake and you had 2 people listening, it wouldn't affect you as much. But the bigger you get, that's just comes with the territory.
100%. Yeah.
And I think one of my favorite things is the fact that, if I did a bit, is seeing maybe a couple of people go, oh, that was funny. And then getting 3 people who are like, what is this dude on one today? That was horrendous.
Yeah.
And I've already put some stuff out where you're playing either a bit that I made or, the story the other day or whatever. There are people that hated that. But I actually haven't been in a situation where that much feedback was coming back, good or bad. I love the fact that people, honestly, I love the fact that people hated enough to even text in.
No.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Where before, again, I came from places that were just all the text had to do with whatever we were talking about. Trump, Clinton, Biden, blah, 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 whatever's going on in politics and stuff like that. This one is actually, I don't know. I appreciate the fact that people care enough to tell you that you suck.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You got to take all that with Jess, because you're the one front facing to the audience and stuff like that. And that's just going to happen.
Someone said, Jessica writes in, hey, I love to hear about life gripes. It makes you guys real people. It makes you guys like friends. That's the whole idea behind the show, honestly, is the way when I came in, and nothing against Moon. Moon's great. Moon had his own style with Staci. But when I came in, I said, I want people to feel like they're sitting in a bar, having a drink or having dinner with their friends. That's what I want. And hopefully in the past 4 years, we've done that for people. But yeah, I mean, listen, we're going to get more hate texts than we are great texts, and that's why I try to surround myself with people outside of my life that make me feel good, that make me have a positive impact on my own life, and be like, listen, you're a good dad, whatever, and that's what you have to do. You have to try and surround yourself with those type of people. And yes, Staci on the air does give me a hard time. Staci off the air, there if I need it.
I think this show is going to be even more that. The fact that you said sitting at a bar with your buddies and talking shop just about life, I think this show will become over time even a little bit more like that.
Yeah.
And that's also how I grew. That's kind of why I want to stick around, is because I grew up listening. I was an Opie and Anthony guy growing up, and I started my career doing open mics and stuff like that and writing comedy. And the reason why I fell in love with radio was because I love shows that were exactly like that were literally funny people or entertaining people literally sitting around a table and just talking about life in the most interesting way possible. And I was thinking I didn't want to continue in broadcasting because I was like, I'm not built to just do a job. Like, I was good at news, but I didn't want to just do that because I could do it. I wasn't enjoying it. And I was thinking about leaving because I was like, I don't think I'm going to find kind of that. And this is the closest thing to that. And I think we can build it even more so.
For sure, yeah.
But that's the show I want to work on, is people who are just okay, like, throwing out the game plan and just being like, let's talk about life for a second.
Yeah.
We got something on my mind and I can't do whatever we're going to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What was this podcast? What's the topic of this podcast? It was kind of all over. With this podcast, we really don't come in with a plan for the most part.
No.
We just say, hey, what's going on in our lives? Listen, I'm excited to have you here. I think that you are a great addition to the show, and I can't wait to see what happens. I can't wait to have Stace back too, by the way.
Yeah.
So if you're wondering, she'll be back on Tuesday. If you're watching this after she's back, she's already back. So
I'm excited to see what this year has in store.
And on a personal note, thank you for your friendship.
Honestly, I'm thankful for both of you. Not to end it on like a cheesy little moment, but I'm very thankful for you and Stacy.
What do we say? Men can have emotions.
Yeah,
we can say that. But I'm super happy with your friend. Even though you ditched on me tonight, we were gonna go out.
Yeah, but think about that. If I was going to drive home, I'd be slipping and sliding. I'd be hitting 3 trees before I made it back into my driveway.
Okay, fine.
All right. Well, in 20 minutes, we'll start this the Staci Hutch show at 2:00.
Yes.
Probably with the same vibe that this show had.
No, we're doing a whole new one. We don't do.
And we will start like we start every show, a kiss on the mouth for good luck.
We'll do that off camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then finally, Jessica says, hey, bro show for the win. Well, there you go. 2 more days of it. By the way, listen at 2:00. I've got a surprise for you guys.
Really? Wait, for me or for
it
you
might
guys,
be for
the audience?
Everyone. Right?
Is it?
Shh.
Is it?
Just wait.
Okay.
All right. So listen.
It's not a car.
At 2:00. No, I didn't buy you a car.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, there you go. Thanks for listening. It's Staci and Hutch. Say too much. Bye.
Goodbye.